my whole name is Carlos Cesar Fernandez Jr. Grew up very Christian. So as far as anything that was outside of the box of religious teachings was not permitted in our household. My family was looked at as being this kind of high Christian family within the congregation. So, I was looked at as being an example within the congregation, and everyone was always saying, Carlos, be more like Carlos. He's a great example. He's this perfect Christian son. I was never able to be truthful about who I really was. And so by time I became Naomi or became a drag queen, like I said, enough was enough.
Beat that block. Now I beat the block.
Naomi Dix, my stage name, my stage persona, technically started when I was about 15 years old. I didn't really know why, or what was going on, but I just knew that I needed some type of outlet from the box that I was in. And to expound on that even more, I knew that there was something that I needed to do. Like, there was just something inside of me telling me you need to do something to kind of set yourself apart from whatever it is that's emotionally bothering you. But I needed some type of alter ego to help me release whatever tension I had. So, like I said, Naomi kind of started when I was around 15, 16 years old, because one day I had a guy that liked me that said, "You would make a really pretty girl." And I was like, that's weird. I've gotten that when I was younger. You would make a really pretty girl. You're a very pretty boy, but you'd make a beautiful girl. Okay. And so I knew for some reason when he said that to me, there was a little switch in my head that went off that said, that's interesting. What would that be like to just be a girl for a day and see how many guys I could get being that way? And so I've actually never told anyone this except my very close friends, like really, really close friends. But I was literally lying in the bed the night before my mom left for work, thinking to myself, how can I just do something edgy and fun and like no one else has to know about it, something kind of taboo, something kind of risque, something like erotic. I don't know, let me do something. Within 10 minutes, I had my storyline. And I woke up the next morning, and I was so excited about it all night. I was just like, this is gonna be so fun. Like, I'm gonna have so much fun. Woke up the next morning and waited for my mom to leave. And my mom had a wig that she had bought years ago because she was like, I'm just gonna try wearing a wig. Never wore it. Used to keep it in a box, and she had, of course, heels, and she had clothes, but my mother is also bigger than I am. So I was like, okay. So I went into her room, and I got her makeup, and I got her lipstick, and I got her eyeliner, and I got her mascara, and I put on makeup and put on the wig. And then I realized, wait a minute, I didn't think about this in my plan. I have to shave my body because girls are not supposed to have hair on them. So I shaved my body, but I didn't really have too much body hair. I was only like 15, 16 years old. And I got a sweater out of my closet that zipped up and put it on as a skirt, and got a tank top. I used to have, I don't know if you know what wife beaters are, but got about 3 wife beaters. Wife beaters are supposed to be really tight and form-fitting. And got some balloons and filled them up with water and put them in my creative. Put them in my wife beaters, because I realized I was like, okay, if I only have 1 wife beater on, this is not enough support to hold up these balloons. So I have to put on these 4 or 5 wife beaters. So I did that. And I put the sweater on. That was a turtleneck sweater. Put it on, put it up here, and zipped it up, and got a leather belt off of my leather coat and put it around my waist and tied it really, really tight to give me an hourglass shape. And put that wig on and had my makeup on and put on some heels, and I practiced some voices. And at the age of 15, 16 years old, I walked out of that house and walked down the street to see if I could get some attention. I don't know what in the world I was thinking, why I would ever do something like that. That is like, now when I think about it, it just makes me cringe just thinking about it. Came back in the door, and just this gush of emotional wind just hit me, and I was like, that was the most exhilarating thing ever, 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 ever. We came up with Naomi Dix by, one, he asked me, who is the fiercest, most beautiful, most, I think exotic, he said. That's what, yeah, he said exotic, gay icon that you could think of. Immediately came to mind Naomi Campbell. Naomi Campbell is fierce. She's a gorgeous woman. She's been in the game for years. She steps onto the scene and everybody knows she's coming to slay. Like, you don't even have to worry about it. She can just show up. She can just stand in a spot, and then just her look, her presence in itself is just enough to kind of fill the room with, as I like to call it, slaymation. And so she did, and that's what she does. And so I said Naomi, from Naomi Campbell. He said, okay, so what's your last name gonna be? And I thought about a couple of other ones, and then I said, you know, I like male parts. I don't like female parts, but I like male parts. I said, so how about we do D-I-X? And he's like, D-I-X? Oh. And I was like, yeah. And he's like, I love it. Naomi Dix. And I was like, that's my name. From there, I pretty much started to become the person that I am now. I was out before that. I was somewhat out, somewhat not out. I was out to certain people that I trusted, and I was not out to everyone. But after a while, it was just something that I couldn't hide. It was something that I couldn't deny anymore. I may be able to deny it. I was maybe able to deny it to other people, but I was not able to deny it to myself. And so in order for me to have been happy, the first step was not to come out to people, but the first step was for me to come out to myself. Mentally, emotionally, and even spiritually, I had to come out to myself, and I had to just say, at the end of the day, you can do and say and act and change your voice to sound masculine all you want to, but at the end of the day, you like men, and that's what makes you happy. And that's what you have to do. Like, you're just going to have to face it. And so I did. And slowly but surely, with my drag family's help, and just with help in general from the amazing friendships that I've made because of how wonderful the LGBTQ community is in general, and how territorial we can be at times with our own people because we're an actual family. And when I say family, I don't mean my Drive family, I just mean the LGBTQ community in a whole is just such a family that I became this person that was no longer scared to let people know who I was.